It's never failed to make me kind of mad when mobile gaming companies create these cool ads for their games, only for those games to end up looking and playing completely differently than what was advertised. And conversely, I'm all the more pleasantly surprised and even elated when a company comes around every now and then and just makes a darn good game that actually looks and plays like all those games want you to believe. This is only part of why I'm so excited to tell you about Diplomacy is Not an Option, an early access tower defense game that already now is so much fun to play. And if that sounds good to you, I really hope you leave a like and consider subscribing to my Patreon for more awesome content. And now, Diplomacy is Not an Option. I love tower defense games. Always have and always will. And I think it's because the really good ones manage to provide a unique sense of investment and challenge. Not only are they part strategy games where you have to manage resources, erect fortifications, and recruit soldiers, but they're all about making sure you're prepared for what's to come. Always making ready for the next few seconds or minutes, knowing that, in just a few moments, waves of enemies will invade your land, and the only thing standing between them and your town center are your planning skills. My all-time favorite tower defense game so far has been the excellently charming and simplistic Pixel Junk Monsters, but right now, the much more complex yet equally beautiful and more impressive Diplomacy is Not an Option might be about to change that. One of the most exciting things about this game is the scale and ambition, which really sets it apart from the crowd. And I suppose we can begin with the basics. The main reason DINAO is so fun. Every game has to begin with essentially nothing, just a few workers and your town center. So far, so been there, done that. But here's where the fun begins. This icon up here shows you how many days you've been playing for, and this little icon down here shows you when the next invasion force arrives. That means you only have a few days to get ready for the first of many big battles, meaning it's time to prepare. But this is where another one of DINAO's unique mechanics kick in. You see, you can't just build whatever you want willy-nilly. In this game, you actually need both the required resources to build something and the required amount of available workers before beginning construction. This means that population becomes an extremely important aspect to manage to keep your town running. The reason why I love this is because I really hate in other games where workshop buildings go without workers if you build things too fast, and I think this little tweak goes a long way in fixing that actually. In other words, resource management becomes just as important as population management. And even though I would not call this a city builder, what makes DINAO so special is the incorporation of aspects from both the tower defense, city builder, and strategy genres. Okay, back to the preparations. Again, we begin small, but if you're struggling, it's important to lay out a strategy. The most important resources in this game are food, wood, and stone, so the gathering of these is vital. You'll also do well to use your starting units for scouting, but it's important to be aware of the enemy camps lurking around every corner. Building housing is crucial to your survival though. As we already established, your current population determines both how many soldiers you can field and how many buildings that require workers you can build. The same goes with the management of food, and as you play further along, you'll be able to lay down beautiful acres of pure farming goodness. These are the city building aspects of the game, and the population and resource management really do come together in an excellent way here. There's never too much time to prepare for battle though, but about half a day in advance of the next invasion, you'll find out where the enemy force is coming from. This is where the tower defense aspects come in. With your gathered resources, now's the time to build your defenses, placing them tactically as you avoid a deep enemy incursion. This is also when it's time to start really building your army, and I absolutely love placing my archers on the walls here. Here we can choose between building walls, towers, and gates, and the further you go, the better and stronger these become, having you start out with wooden walls before getting the much sturdier and taller stone walls. Enemies come in waves usually about every 3 or 4 days, and when they do, they come in the hundreds and sometimes even thousands. This is the real test of your preparations and civilization, as you'll need the food to maintain your population, the resources to recruit soldiers, and the tactical know-how of where to place what. This also ties into the strategy aspect, of course, but perhaps not in the exact ways you think. You see, DINAO actually makes use of a physics-based system, meaning that archers never laser focus on their targets. Arrows and other projectiles like those from catapults can miss and even hit other objects, meaning it becomes all the more important to know where to place your walls and towers in conjunction with each other. This allows for some really awesome kill zones and defensive positions, and it's something DINAO does better than virtually any other game of its kind I've played with such a degree of manual player-based control. But there's more here, as we even get a full research tree to upgrade. Here you can put resources into upgrading various parts of your kingdom, from faster building times to movement speeds, better wall health, and unit damage. It's important to remember to maintain it as you go, even though some of the upgrades do seem less relevant than others depending on your needs and wants. There's one last major thing though, and it's a doozy. You see, Diplomacy is Not an Option is a very down-to-earth history-inspired game, but that doesn't mean it's afraid to have fun. In addition to our regular soldiers and towers, we have something a bit more magical should we need it. By using so-called soul crystals, we can summon forth a unit of powerful fighters for desperate times, or a giant godly laser beam for those oh my god help me moments. They've helped me out of a tight spot many times, but I wouldn't count on them to be your main line of defense. Not only because your enemies will periodically assault you outside of the mass invasions, but because you need soul crystals to actually summon them, which is a limited resource only found by destroying enemy outposts. In other words, while it can look extremely satisfying to bounce hundreds of units off the face of the earth at the same time, you better leave it for when you really need it. If there's something I wish would be improved, I'd have to point to various smaller things. I wish we could see the paths of units when highlighting them, because as of right now, it's easy to forget what you've ordered units to do. It's also worth mentioning that as of the early access release, the campaign is very short, so you'll really only be met with one easy, medium, and hard level. But that's what the endless modes are for, where you can play for as long as you wish and challenge yourself forever. The campaign is fun and charming though, and I really enjoyed the simple but fun cinematic sequences in between missions. I'm also interested in seeing where the game will take its decision system, as it can really change up the campaign apparently. Diplomacy is Not an Option is the most fun I've had in a tower defense game in forever. One of the best things about it is that it actually looks as charming and fun as it plays, and makes up a symbol of the dedication to the craft. I love the combination of tower defense, strategy, and city building here, and with the introduction of physics-based combat, tactical positions of defenses, and the all-important resource management, I've already gotten about 10 hours from just the campaign alone. I definitely needed to put my tactical genius to the test here, and after trying again and again, I finally managed to beat the third and hardest level. I highly recommend checking out Diplomacy is Not an Option if you love the genre like I do, and I'm certain it will only get better with time. Thank you so much for watching. If you're into the tower defense genre, what is your favorite genre game? And what do you think of Diplomacy is Not an Option? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video, I really hope you leave a like, join the Discord, and consider supporting the channel on Patreon for more awesome content. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Cheers!